Hi, Tim here with Clive Coffee. I'm going to show you how to clean your Eureka atom grinder. This is going to be useful if the grinder has seized up or there's a jamming in there. Also useful for routine maintenance and cleaning. With any grinder, you're going to want to remember two things: force and flow. Force describes the motor spinning. That's on-off, really simple, brute force. The secondary force, that's more subtle but really important, is going to be the force of the burrs closing in, coming together. That's adjusted with your dial up here on the top of the Eureka atom. As you're making adjustments, we always tell people to run the motor in between every one number adjustment on the Eureka atom. If you go too fine and you crush some of the beans, some of the grinds that have set inside the burrs, you can seize up the motors and your motor will not spin. You would hear the motor sound, but you would not see or you would not hear the beans actually being ground up. Really simple solution. All you do is you back up to the course setting, one or two numbers, and go ahead and run that grinder one more time just to get that motor running again. If you continue to run your motor while the burrs are seized, you can damage the motor, so that's very important. The second thing to consider is going to be the flow. As the beans are running from the burrs down through the chute into your portafilter, that you can picture that, you can think of that as a train running along a track through a tunnel. The engine is at the back pushing those train cars down through. If there's a derailment or if there's a backing up inside that tunnel, you're going to have a pretty big mess in there. You want to immediately stop grinding if you notice your motor's running, grinding beans, but you do not see the grounds coming out into your portafilter. So go ahead and stop that, and then we will go ahead and show you how to easily clean up and get inside your atom grinder. Before you start cleaning, remember to power off, turn off the grinder. The tools we're going to use today, we're going to use our 2.5 and 3 millimeter Allen wrench, a Phillips screwdriver, and a brush. So we switched the grinder off. Now we can go ahead and remove the hopper, set that aside. We're going to use now our 2.5 millimeter wrench, and we're going to remove the 3 screws on the top plate. Those come right off, and then that top plate will come right off. Set them aside in a secure place so we can reassemble later. The top plate comes right off, as you can see, and we'll go ahead and set that aside. You can already see where your top burr set is, and in order to do a thorough cleaning today, we're actually going to get into the chute, and in order to access that, we're going to remove the front plate here. You're going to switch over to your 3 millimeter wrench and unscrew and remove the top 2 screws near the front of the plate up at the top. Set those aside. The front plate will slide up and off, just very gently. Be careful of the wires that are still attached, and you can just put that aside, and this will give us access to the chute. We're going to go ahead and take the top burr set off now using your Phillips screwdriver. There are the 3 screws on that top plate. So go ahead and just remove those. All right, now this top burr just pulls right off, very easy. You will see inside here, you have your grinder burr. If you flip that over, you can see that. You can go ahead and brush this out, give it a good clean, just with a nice bristled brush, and clean inside there as well. You'll notice inside we've got some grounds, and as we're cleaning out the top burr, we're looking for this grinder chute, that tunnel that the grounds are running through. We're just going to brush that out as good as we can. We're going to open up our chute from the front. There's a small tab that holds this rubber piece, and it kind of clamps it down, holds it against. You can just pop that right off. It just slides on and off. Kind of set that aside. Now this whole rubber piece just pops right off. So now we can get inside with our brush and clean out the clump crusher. We're going to clean out this whole chute here, just brush it out. You'll see grounds there. And you want to inspect that little metal plate there. That's going to break up any clumps that are coming through, and that will make sure that your grinds are running through there as evenly as possible. We have everything brushed out and cleaned up. Feel free to use a small vacuum or a little bit of canned air. That can kind of help speed up the process. And now we're going to go ahead and put our grinder back together, reassemble. We'll kind of work in reverse. The chute snaps back into place, just kind of sits in here, and we're going to put that metal plate back on. The orientation will be this small divot in the metal is going to face the black rubber side. That compresses and keeps it in place. And then we will place our metal top burr back in place. You can go ahead and set that in place with the 3 holes, and using our bigger screws here, we're going to go ahead and put these back into place using our Phillips screwdriver. Next, we can go ahead and get our front plate back in place here. We just kind of slide that in, let it lock in, and using the 3mm Allen wrench, we're going to go ahead and put these 2 screws back in place. We're going to switch our Allen wrench to the 2.5 so that we can put our top plate back in place here. It just kind of sets, it just rests there nicely, and the screws are what holds it in place. So we'll just pop those in and tighten them down. And finally, we'll put our hopper back on. You can go ahead and turn it back on. And now you're ready to get back to using your Eureka Atom grinder. Check out this link for our recommended espresso recipe, and check out this link for our Atom setup video that will show you how to dial in and get started. For other Clive technical resources, visit clivecoffee.com.